Oh, thank God, it's Will Smith Wednesday. Finally get to turn my brain off for a moment.
You know, I can't remember the last time I watched iRobot.
Now remember,
I know.
you can snark it all you want, but no digressions. We are here to watch a fun movie with our friends, whom we can't see anymore because of reasons.
Fine.
Kind of funny how this isn't the first naked Will Smith we've seen on Will Smith Wednesday.
Wild, Wild West!
Don't you start about that.
There was a joke about lynching.
Don't you dare.
And Texas was not on the way to Utah by rail in 1869.
I am warning you. Okay, so the movie takes place in 2035, but the movie came out in 2004.
Okay. Only 31 years in the future of when this movie came out. No big deal. A lot can happen in 31 years. Do you think there's a city bike program in this future, but like for robots? How dare you disrespect Grandma's pie like that? Oh. Chicago got itself a big dig. I wonder how long it took to build.
Nella, don't worry about that.
Hey, did you know they had to engineer an entirely new way of building skyscrapers because Chicago is literally on a clay swamp?
Just watch the movie.
Nella, what shall it profit Chicago to have taken the prairies and the wheat fields and the distant lairs of wolves and bears in its municipal embrace, if the proud palaces and the haunts of its board of trade must sink in the smother of slimy ooze?
Nella, stop it.
Who shall restrain the great layer of jelly in Chicago's cake?
Oh my God, where did you even find that quote?
It's so extra.
Nella, we are not talking about the history of skyscrapers in Chicago. We're watching a movie.
But
I don't know, maybe you simply would have banned the internet to keep the libraries open.
this is a dystopian world and I hate it.
USR's planned redevelopment of the derelict site was announced by CEO Lawrence Robertson earlier this year.
The Lake Michigan landfill, once such a blight on our city, and now will be reclaimed for the storage of robotic workers. It's just another way USR is improving our world.
Wait. Lake Michigan is just gone?
Oh no.
How is a whole Great Lake gone?
I can't believe it. We were gonna make it.
And what bridge is that supposed to be?
We were 1 hour, 19 minutes into a 2-hour movie without a digression. We were this close.
No. How is robot storage an improvement? You've lost an entire Great Lake. How do you lose an entire Great Lake in only 31 years? Did it wander off somewhere? What, did it take a wrong turn to Alberta?
Nella, this has already been addressed in the audio commentary. They got rid of Lake Michigan because they thought it would be dramatic and cool.
But the implications, Nella.
And there she goes.
You know what? Let's just stick with hypotheticals.
Okay, look, I'm just gonna mute you and keep watching the movie, okay?
You know what? I'm not even gonna touch that whole suspension bridge
You have
nonsense.
yourself a ball.
You can see the skyline of Chicago from this desiccated wasteland, while in other shots, it's pretty clear that there it is, Lake Michigan on the shoreline. So, obviously when they were filming it, people were just asleep at the wheel when it came to continuity, but whatever. No. My problem is that Lake Michigan is not just Lake Michigan. All the Great Lakes are interconnected, so really, the drop in the water levels of one lake affects all of them equally. Except perhaps Superior, because, you know, it's the one on top. I mean, maybe you could cut Michigan off from here on at the Mackinac Point, and then start draining Lake Michigan, leaving the other 4 lakes kind of untouched. But Huron, Erie, and Ontario still rely on water flow for Michigan, so really it's going to be up to Lake Superior to pick up the slack, which, good luck with that. So, if you've decided in this dystopian world...
Is iRobot really a dystopian world?
They've made a Great Lake disappear. It's a dystopian world. I mean, just look at this Photoshop I did. Here's the depths of the Great Lakes normally. So that means Lake Erie would disappear first as water levels drop in Ontario, Huron, Michigan, and in Superior. You can end up with very small versions of each lake completely cut off from the other ones. But that would completely destroy everything in the region. So, in this dystopian world, hypothetically, let's say they cut off Lake Michigan from Lake Huron for reasons, leaving the other 4 lakes to continue their march to St. Lawrence River, so not nearly as much of an ecological horror show as it could be.
3, 2, 1.
But
And
why would you cut off a Great Lake, and to what purpose? Water diversion rights. It's been a hot-button topic for Americans and Canadians in regards to the Great Lakes for decades. After all, the Great Lakes hold 1/5 of the world's drinking water supply. Screw oil, water insecurity is already changing the globe as we know it, and the global demand for water is projected to double by 2050. Some argue that it's a national responsibility to divert water to the areas of the country that need it, and they argue that far more water could be pulled from the Great Lakes before you even began to overreach its renewal rate. But keep in mind, less than 1% of the water in the Great Lakes is renewed by rainfall, snowfall, and by groundwater recharge every year. The other 99% was deposited by glaciers in the last ice age. As described in the book The Great Lake Water Wars by Peter Annan, think of the Great Lakes as a giant water bank account deposited in the heart of the North American continent more than 10,000 years ago that earns less than 1% of water interest per year. If you start pulling water from the principal, you may need another ice age to get it back. And we're not getting another one of those anytime soon. Luckily, you don't have to move water very far before expensive desalination starts to look pretty economical in comparison. And regardless, you still have to rely heavily on federal subsidies. Right now, water conservation and efficiency is still more economical than, the alternatives. Yes, but how long is that going to last before we have to do something about droughts in the Sun Belt or threats to the agricultural centers of California? These are national concerns. I mean, just look at this map from the U.S. Department of the Interior entitled Potential Water Supply Crises by 2025. Not great, Bob. So let's assume that's what happened in the dystopian world of iRobot. Let's say, for example, Nestle got the federal okay to bulldoze through the international legislation, because don't forget, Canada has a say about what happens in the Great Lakes as well, that protect the lake's water supply from redirection. And in 31 years, we sucked Lake Michigan dry, made it a landfill, built a suspension bridge to nowhere, and then cleaned it up enough to make it a robot storage site, which I'm sure is great ecologically. Can't wait for that to stick around for who knows how many lifetimes. But what does that mean for all the towns and cities that rely on Lake Michigan? Yes, I'm looking at you, Chicago. I mean, we have a real-world example of what happens when a Great Lake disappears. The Aral Sea! Now that was an ecological horror story. It went from being the 4th largest lake in the world to 2 small solidified lakes and a desert. Now, what happened to the Aral Sea isn't a one-for-one example of what would happen to a Great Lake, but it is an example that just because something's big doesn't mean it's not vulnerable. In the 1950s, Soviet planners diverted the freshwater rivers that fed the Aral Sea to a vast complex of agricultural fields and a massive feat of engineering. It worked, and Central Asia boomed, particularly for the production of cotton and rice. It also meant that in less than half a century, not even a lifetime, water levels in the Aral Sea dropped almost 96 feet. An entire fishing industry, gone. Places that had once overlooked the water, now perched on cliffs overlooking 60 miles or more of desert. Now the summers are hotter, the winters colder, and the precipitation patterns have changed as well. Large bodies of water moderate temperature extremes. I saw this every day growing up on Long Island. It could be a whole 10 degrees cooler by the sound than it was in the middle of the island. Reduce the scope of the Great Lakes and expect drastic changes to the climate that would affect at least the Midwest and the Northeast. And don't even get me started on where the Chicago's supposed to get its drinking water now. Now, scientists might say that what happened to the Aral Sea would never happen again because the era of big, large-scale water diversion is over. But I'm gonna have to put a big sarcastic, yeah, say that now on top of that. But hey, there's hope. Fish have returned to the new northern Aral Sea as fresh water has been reintroduced, and it suggested that it is possible to restore the southern Aral Sea. It just might, take a century. It would also require unrealistic transformations of the region's agricultural economy and a multi-billion-dollar international aid effort. As pointed out in the book, The Great Lake Water Wars, the problem is once you make a commitment to give somebody water, you can't take it back because they become dependent on it. In conclusion, if Lake Michigan disappeared, the future would be more Mad Max Fury Road and less iRobot.
We watched that movie 3 weeks ago. You do realize that, right?
What?
Are you done?
Yeah? Is it just me, or do you want to visit the Great Lakes now?
I mean, sure, but, we kind of can't go anywhere right now.
What if we took the Amtrak?
Yeah, we're definitely not taking Amtrak there right now.
Okay, but back to Wild Wild West for a moment. There was no connecting railroads between Texas and Utah in 1869.
You see this? This is why we can't watch movies anymore.
Fine.
Fine.
Enjoy that day job of yours.
I will.
She'll be back. She always comes back. Thank you to my ear lenders, Allison J., Avi Finkel, Chandra, Jason Lucas, Johan Gustafson, John Smith, Steve Harper, and William Christopher. Finally get a chance to go through some postcards I received. First one up, this really lovely one of this lady dancing, and it reads, Dear Nella, please enjoy this promo postcard. I was an aspiring freelance illustrator, but don't have much need for these now. Keep up the great videos. Aw, sincerely, Maria. So, that is lovely art. I really enjoy that. So, Maria says she was an aspiring freelance illustrator, because I really like this illustration. And then I also received a package. Very exciting. And this came with couple of really good things. First off, a card, but with a little note of, sorry, it's not a postcard, which is A-okay. It's alright. I love all written words. It doesn't have to come with a picture, I promise. It says, Dear Nella, I hope this finds you safe and well. I just wanted to send this note to say thank you. Through the years, you have made me laugh and smile. From the day with Lindsay on Channel Awesome to Booze Your Own Adventure and the Pumpkin Patch. My God, you watched that? You are truly a joy to watch. Stay safe and be well. P.S. I hope you like the print. Have a beautiful day, Crystal. Aw, that was super sweet. It came with this great art print of Arabian coffee. It's super cute. It looks like Crystal does clothing, art, and accessories. And also, it came with a mask. So now I have a spare mask for when I go out and need to protect oneself. So thank you again to Crystal for sending me these lovely, lovely gifts, and for the lovely note as well. Thank you to Maria for the really cool illustration. I love this postcard. And yes, I'm gonna put their information down below so then you can maybe check them out and maybe get yourself your own mask and arts. Because, what else are you doing with your time right now? But anyway, thank you all again for your support. I hope you enjoyed the video, and support me on Patreon, send me a postcard, details below, and until next time.